This is tutorial 8-2 in GIS tutorial workbook 2. In this exercise, we're going to be identifying the clustering of values. In the previous exercise, we learned how to find clustering in location. Now we're going to be looking at the calls made and seeing if there's a cluster of high-ranking calls or a clustering of low-ranking calls, if it's significant. Now, the test being used is the general G statistics measurement. I'm not too familiar with that myself. If you really want to find out more about this tool, I suggest using the ArcGIS desktop help and a lot of internet sources, because it's not just a GIS tool, it is a statistic tool. I may do another video going more in depth of what this tool is and what's it doing later on once I learn more about it. Now, we're going to first start by investigate the threshold distance. And what this is going to do is we're going to find out how far we have to travel to find a certain amount of neighbors. And to do this, they want us to use the search window, but once again, we're going to use our toolbox. We're going to go to Spatial Statistic Tools, and this is in Utilities. And we're going to calculate distance band from neighbor count. So like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a number. First, we're going to choose our calls for service, the February ones. And we are going to choose, okay, we want to find 7 neighbors. And we want to know how far we have to go to find that. And we're going to use Euclidean distance. Okay, we're just going to click on this to open it. And as we can see, you have to go on an average distance 1,021 feet to find 7 neighbors. The maximum was 23,198. Now, you're just going to want to jot down that on a piece of scrap paper, the 1,021. You don't even really have to if you don't want to. We're just going to use that information for when we actually do our high-low clustering tool. And to do that, we're going to minimize utilities, and we're going to expand analyzing patterns. And we're going to go to high-low clustering. And we're going to use our February call service. And we're interested in the importance of the call. So the FF or the FEE, we want to generate a report. And we're using a fixed distance band. And what this means is that the points that we're interested in don't really influence each other. So that's why we're choosing that. And for our threshold, they want us to go by increments of 200, starting from 200 and going up to 1,200. So we're just going to type in 200 here, click OK. Now, you probably might get worried if you see this little triangle with the exclamation point. You might think you did something wrong. We didn't. The only thing is it's telling us is that it couldn't count all things because they didn't meet our requirement. 378 features had no neighbors at that distance. And up here, we're just going to close that. You're going to find our observed general G and our z-score. And what I did was I opened up an Excel file and I did distance, g-index, and z-score. And I went ahead and I already did all the other ones because you're just going to see me doing the same exact thing. You're going to double click on this. You're going to choose February, FE, make sure you generate the report, fixed distance band, and then you would do 400. Then you do it again for 600, 800, 1,000, 1,200. I went ahead and did all that. And what they want us to do is they want us to pick the maximum z-score, which would be 200. So the first one that we did was actually the best. And what we have now is at 200 feet, that is the most significant clustering. So what they want us to do is and we can also look at the graph like we did with the z-score previously, where it shows us that we do have high clusters and it's significant. You know what? I will go through and do the last one and see how that one comes out. And for this one, you'll see that only 51 were excluded. So much better for a larger sample number, but our z-score is not as significant. And we're going to look at our results for that. And once again, high clusters. So with that information, we're going to go into our text box. We're going to use our maximum z-score of positive 8.73. And you always want to use a confidence interval of 95%. And our distance clustering was 200 feet. And that's it for this tutorial. If you do want more information about this general G-test, I suggest looking online. It's a very complicated process and can't really be covered just by doing this tool. So further understanding is going to require some research.